Hey everyone, welcome back to another Hammond Collection review. Today we're going to take a look at the Lost World Parasaurolophus. I've been really looking forward to this figure. This is one of the last things I was looking for in this first round of figures. The only other thing I'm still looking for is that extreme damage Allosaurus. All the targets near me had it listed on Brickseek of being in stock for like at least 2 weeks. Not one of them put them on the shelves. They put everything else out. Everything I've reviewed on the channel I found pretty much at Target, but for some reason they were not putting out the Parasaurolophus. Found plenty of Baryonyx, Raptors, and Ian Malcolms. So I was really happy when I walked into Target today. So just one sitting on the shelf. I've had one on pre-order on Target when they first announced them, I think way back in January. Those pre-orders have not shipped yet. I guess the pre-order release date is different than the in-store release date. No one's gotten any of the online orders from Target yet, but you can also order this figure on Amazon. It keeps coming in and out of stock, and I actually have another one ordered because I want at least 2 of these in my collection, but I'll leave links to Target and Amazon down below in the description if you're still having trouble tracking this figure down. Now let's go over the package really quick before we crack this Hadrosaur open. It comes in the new Hammond Collection style packaging. It has a nice premium look to it. The only thing I don't like is just this small window box. You only can see about half the figure. I wish it was a little bit more open like the old Amber Collection style boxes, just so you can see more of the figure. You know, give them a good look over for that good old fashioned Mattel quality control. You got the TRex Jurassic Park logo done in black over here. You got Hammond inside the amber. On the side of the box, you get a nice picture of the Parasaurolophus with the Lost World logo. Back of the box, got another picture of the toy and one of the scenes where it showed up in the movie. So that will do it for the packaging. Let's crack this thing open and take a closer look. And when you get this figure out of the packaging, you just have to do one quick assembly. You're just going to line up that notch right here on the tail with the main body and just push it in. So you hear a click, and that is in there, and that is a one-time assembly. Once you get it in, you're not going to get it out. And let's start with this 360-degree view of the Lost World Parasaurolophus. I have to say, I was not prepared for how big this figure is. You know, it's in the same price point as the Hammond Collection Baryonyx, you know, $20. It's a lot bigger, heavier, and beefier figure than the Barry, which gives me slight hope that their Hammond Collection Triceratops will be a little bit bigger than the one that we've been getting over and over again in the main line, because they crammed a lot of figure in that package. So it gives me a little bit more hope for that Hammond Collection trike. But yeah, this is a beautiful representation of how the Parasaurolophus appeared in the Lost World. You know, the gold standard, for the Para toy has always been the Kenner version, and I think it's been dethroned now by the new Hammond Collection one. It's just a really nice looking figure. It has just the right amount of paint apps to make it movie accurate. You got this nice tan yellow body. You got purple stripes and highlights all over it. You got a nice bright orange stripe down the back and the back of the neck, and you have it highlighted by a white stripe. So yeah, really beautiful looking figure. Now, it's not without faults. There are a few things I don't like on this figure, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. They did a great job on this figure, and it's kind of crazy, how good the paint apps are and the articulation is for a $20 figures. These figures only cost $5 more than the raw strikers, and they just have really subpar paint jobs. It shows you that Mattel does have the budget to put a little extra effort into those mainline figures. And now for some measurements. This figure is 13 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the beak, and about 5 inches tall. Now keep in mind the length and height will change depending on how you have the figure positioned. So the in-gen Parasaurolophus are actually smaller than the real life Para. The in-gen ones were just over 23 feet long, so I'll put this figure roughly in that 120 scale range, which fits nicely in the 118 scale range the Hammond Collection is going for. The real Parasaurolophus was larger, up to 33 feet long. And let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head. A nice, accurate Lost World Parasaurolophus sculpt. The beak and the crest, it looks brown on camera, but it's actually like a very deep shade of purple. You can see the nostril sculpting, a lot of nice texturing all over the crest. And then zooming into the eyes are painted orange with a black pupil. You have some speckling of brown around the orbit and the eye. The bottom beak is also painted in that purplish brown color, and you have some highlights of orange on the back of the head. And then looking at the figure from the front, oh boy, that is one puffy puffy looking Parasaurolophus face. That is one of my big critiques with this figure. The head is just way too fat from the front. I mean, seriously, look at that thing. I mean, I get why the base of the neck is really wide, and then, you know, they have to sculpt the head to fit over it, and all they really need to do is not make this part right here so wide. Like you can see, it, you know, it tapers and then it expands again. And if they just tapered it off, you could have got a much more proportionate looking head. I mean, you could definitely hide the joints if the neck was a little bit thinner. So yeah, this thing looks a little rough from the front. And now going down to the back of the neck, you have this nice bright orange stripe highlighted by purple. I wish this purple did continue up to the back of the crest. It just abruptly ends right there, so it looks a little bit off when you're viewing it from the back like that. And then going down to the underside of the neck, you do have some nice white for the underside of the throat. A lot of nice folds and wrinkles and muscle detail. It's a very detailed figure. It's mostly folds and wrinkles, except when you get down to the main body, you do have some nice scale detail. Going down to the front arms, you got some nice dark purple striping on the forearms. Going down to the hands, no paint on the hand claws, which is a shame. You know, the Raptors and the Baryonyx have theirs painted, so, you know, it's a collector line. That's another small knock on the figure. And let's get the camera to refocus in. Then going back down to the main body, you have this nice speckle and a brown that adds some nice definition to it. Then you have this nice white stripe between the purple and the bright orange. As you look at the bright orange stripe, it just abruptly ends at the tail. I wish some of this orange just continued down right here. And we do have two purple stripes on the tail. So, you know, biggest thing with Mattel figures, they don't like painting the tails. And they barely painted this one, but I just wish just more of that orange just came down to at least where the purple stripes end. I think that would have looked a lot better. And then going down to the hind legs. Hind legs are nicely detailed. You have some dry brushing of white with all these dark purple stripes. And then going down to the feet, yes, we have big oversized feet. I mean, it helps with you know, posing this figure and stability. The toe claws are painted a nice glossy black color. I'm really not a fan of how the feet look on the Parasaurolophus. They're kind of theropody looking, but, you know, they're really not awful. And then on the other side, you got more of that white that ends right at the base of the tail. That's okay. This isn't. Just wish a little bit more of that orange came on there. And then coming down to the tail is really short, and it does make the figure look disproportionate. You know, the Baryonyx had a better proportionate tail, but can't really, you know, I'm not really going to blame Mattel too much, because let me just get this guy posed over here. Here is the plastic insert the Parasaurolophus came in. This section right here, if you can make it on camera, is where the tail goes, and pretty much the whole packaging is filled up with the figure. So they really didn't have a lot of room to give it a longer tail, so I will forgive them for that. But all in all, you know, the paint apps are well done. Could they have been a little bit better? Yeah, they could, but they check all the boxes and make this look like the Parasaurolophus from the Lost World. So yeah, really am quite happy with it. It's just, you know, a couple minor nitpicks. It's definitely not a deal breaker with this figure, even with that giant fat looking face. Now for articulation, you can get the figure to stand up on two legs. It takes a little bit of balance, and the joints aren't as tight as I was liking to be. The whole top part of the figure is kind of heavy, and it kind of pushes down on the joints, so it's kind of tough to get it in some dynamic poses. I'm probably gonna put some clear nail polish or like Kiki's joint fix, if you're an action figure collector, in there to tighten them up a little bit, just so I can get some better poses out of it. And you can also position the figure down to have it on all fours. And then going up to the head, you do have some mouth articulation, very teeny tiny mouth on this Parasaurolophus, and isn't that adorable? You can go a little too far with it and break up the sculpt. You can see the gums pick it out, and since we have the mouth open, you do get a nicely painted tongue and gum tissue, all done in glossy pink paint. And then zooming back out just a little bit, for the head you get some downwards and upwards movement, and then viewing it from the front, you get some nice side to side movement. For the neck, you get some upwards and downward movement, and some side to side movement. Going down to the arms, they are on a hinge, they can swing out, and you get just under 90 degrees of bend at that elbow joint. I really wish Those wrist articulation on here is definitely thick enough to have a joint for that. On the Raptors, not so much. Those wrists are really, really tiny. The joint would probably be very brittle, but I think they could have pulled it off on this figure. Going down to the hind legs, my camera really does not like focusing on this figure. You do get some hip pivot, and you can move the legs backwards and forwards a little bit. They hit the side of the belly. The belly does stick out a little bit. Going down to the knees, you get some, that's about as far as the knee can bend back, and you can get it to extend fully. And at the ankle, same thing. You can get the joint to expand fully, and they're all on hinges, so they can rotate it side to side. And then going down to the tail, you get some nice side to side movement and a little bit of up and down. And the tail is wire bend, but such a thick, short tail, you're not going to get too much bend out of it. But if you do play around with the figure, you can get it into some dynamic poses. I always like to try to get articulated figures into a one-legged stand-in pose. It's kind of hard on this figure because you just have to find the center of gravity. The joints are a little bit loose, but you can definitely pull it off. And first up for comparisons, here is Roland Tembo next to Elvis, the Pompadour, and also here is the InGen capture vehicle. I think it's so great that Mattel is finally acknowledging Lost World a little bit more. You know, we got this set now, we got the Parasaurolophus, we have a Sarah Harding coming with the baby Stegosaurus and the adult, so I can't wait to see what else Mattel has in store when it comes to Lost World. I really feel like the Lost World is like a true treasure trove. They can go absolutely crazy with. There's so many vehicles and characters they can do, and dinosaur species. Like, they can really flush out the line just focusing on the Lost World. And next up, let's take out Mattel's earlier Parasaurs. Here's the old Dino Rivals one, and here is the newer, I think this is, yeah, Primal Attack. It's the Camp Cretaceous one. I can definitely see Mattel, you know, repainting this with the Camp Cretaceous colors. They can use it for the original Jurassic Park Parasaurolophus, the green ones, and they also can use it for the Lost World Dominion style ones with the brown and the white stripes. So they can really use this mold a lot and get some mileage out of it. And I wouldn't mind that, because I would definitely buy them all. I really like the Parasaur figure, and I do have another one on order from Amazon. I definitely want a few of these. But one thing I want to point out quickly, you know how we're talking about just how wide the face is on the Hammond Collection one. Like, here it is next to the Dino Rivals, a much more proportionate face. They kind of share the like a similar head joint. Come on, see, that's what I'm talking about. These slightly loose joints, they definitely need some tightening. But you can see the head on this one's much more proportionate looking. Has a very similar, you know, neck articulation. Not as much range of motion as this one, but they definitely could have made the head much more proportionate if they just resculpted that neck joint. And next up here is the Juvenile Power that came with the Lost World vehicle, and we are going to get a repaint of this. It's supposed to come with Owen in the winter gear. Hopefully they get rid of that god-awful slit eye on it. And let's do the Hall of Shame figures. Here's the Legacy Collection Cosmoceratops, Ferocious Pack Marigaya, and the Ferocious Pack Moros. And next up is the Raw Striker Scorpio Venator. Now, the power costs $5 more. It doesn't have electronic sounds. It has more articulation and parts. But it goes to show that, you know, Mattel could put a little bit more effort on the paint jobs in the main line. Like, I love the Scorpio Venator. I think it's a beautifully sculpted figure, but all that detail is just lost by this really sparse paint job. So I honestly believe they can just squeeze out a little bit more paint on their figures. And next up, here it is with the Dominion T-Rex. I can't wait for the Hammond Collection Rex to come out. I hope it's the definitive version and I never have to pick up one of these mainline Rexes again. You know, Mattel always slightly improves on them from the previous version, and that's why I have like 7 or 8 of these. So hopefully the Hammond Collection one is the last one I buy. And next up, let's do some more articulated dinosaurs. These are all Ceratopsians from the Beasts of the Mesozoic line. All these Ceratopsians are part of the Dinosaur Park formation where Parasaurolophus is known from. So we have Chasmosaurus, Styracosaurus, and right here is Centrosaurus. If you like articulated dinosaur figures, seriously give these figures a chance. Yes, they cost more than the Hammond Collection. That's because they are better built, better material, and they have way better paint jobs. So you're definitely getting your money's worth checking these figures out. And lastly, here it is with the rest of the Hammond Collection, the Baryonyx, Velociraptor, and Ian Malcolm. And I am really, really loving this line. It's probably one of the best things Mattel has done in a really long time after they fumbled the Amber Collection. This makes up for it. And, you know, we're just in the first round of figures, and it already feels like a more complete line. We have dinosaurs in different sizes. We never really got that with the Amber Collection. Yeah, we got a couple, you know, 2 packs of small species, but nothing outside the range of a Velociraptor. So yeah, loving this line, and the price is right on these. You know, 20 bucks. You know, you get nice movie accurate paint jobs and sculpts, tons of articulation. It's just great. It's a great time to be a Jurassic fan with this line right now, and we're getting so much more. Dilophosaurus, Ceratosaurus, Gallimimus, Dr. Grant Salad. Like, they're gonna go. I hope they go nuts with this line. I want a ton of releases, and this is gonna keep me from buying a lot of the mainline stuff because these figures are just so great. So final thoughts on the Hammond Collection Parasaurolophus. I really like this figure. I love the whole line so far. Now this Parasaurolophus is not without its fault. You know, the face is a little bit too big. They skimped on paint apps in a couple spots. And I wish the joints were just a little bit tighter and the tail's a little too short. But those are just minor critiques. It's definitely not a deal breaker. It's a great figure. It's a ton of fun to play with. It has some nice heft to it. It's bigger than the Baryonyx, and that kind of caught me off guard. It shows you that Mattel can squeeze out a little bit more size in the package they have for the Amber Collection, because this thing takes up literally the whole box. And I hope they go crazy using and abusing this mode like they're going to do with the Raptors. I'd like to see, the Dominion Parasaurolophus, the first Jurassic Park one. Just go nuts with it. I really like these figures, and they're just so affordable at 20 bucks. You really can't ask for more from a figure in that price range. Now, you can pick this figure up at Target's, where I found mine. The pre-orders haven't updated when they're going to ship yet until later today. Someone just pointed out that if you pre-order it on Target, it should be shipping on May 6th, but the pre-orders are up at Big Bad Toy Store now. You can get these at Amazon. I'll leave some links down below to Target and Amazon if you want to try ordering the figures that way. So that will do it for the review. I just have a few more Dominion stuff to work through, and then I'm all done until Wave 2 stuff shows up. Hopefully that's not too soon, because I spent a ton of money over the last couple weeks. Still have a couple Collect Day figures. I actually do have the Nanmu Parasaurolophus coming in, which is based off the Lost World one. I should have that probably in a week or two. I ordered the regular model and the corpse. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that one, so stay tuned for all those reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously and is greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys for the next one.